From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. President Joe Biden is facing criticism after claiming he has done more for the Palestinian community than anybody else. He made these remarks in an interview with the Complex Network's Chris Speedy Mormon. President Biden's remarks came amid Israel's ongoing genocidal war on Gaza, which, according to The Lancet, may have killed approximately 186,000 Palestinians. Biden defended his actions, citing efforts to facilitate humanitarian aid. However, critics argue his policies, including a recent $26 billion aid package to Israel, contradict his claims of support for Palestinians. Organizations like the Council on American Islamic Relations have called Biden's remarks tone-deaf. Biden's stance could affect his support in key states like Michigan, where Arab American voters play a significant role. Meanwhile, the U.S. has decided to dismantle the temporary pier it built in Gaza to bring food. Critics call the pier a $230 million boondoggle that failed to bring in the level of aid needed to stem a looming famine in Gaza. Prominent Democratic lawmaker Adam Schiff has urged President Joe Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. The California congressman is the first Democrat to urge Biden to step aside since an attempted assassination against Republican frontrunner Donald Trump last weekend. Biden's candidacy has been in the spotlight following his dismal performance against Trump in a presidential debate late last month. The U.S. Navy has corrected what it is calling a historic wrong by exonerating 258 black sailors. President Joe Biden and his Navy Secretary announced the move on Wednesday. The sailors were convicted of mutiny after a devastating explosion at Port Chicago on July 17, 1944. The sailors refused orders to resume loading munitions at the site after the blast that killed 320 people and injured 400 others. However, Biden said their white counterparts were granted leave. Meanwhile, the black sailors were required to clean up the carnage and return to the dangerous work. Biden said the Navy has determined the court-martials for all 258 black sailors were fundamentally unfair. Human rights watchdog Amnesty International is calling on France to overturn its hijab ban on its Olympic athletes. France is hosting the Olympics starting next week in its capital, Paris. A new briefing issued on Tuesday by Amnesty focuses on violations of Muslim women's and girls' human rights through France's hijab bans in sports. It stresses that the ban on Olympic athletes contradicts international sports body regulations and France's obligations under human rights treaties. Among 38 European countries reviewed by Amnesty, France is the only one with enshrined bans on religious headwear. France's rule also contradicts the clothing regulations of international sports bodies such as Football Federation FIFA. Amnesty's report also says that under international law, state neutrality or secularism is not a legitimate reason to impose restrictions on freedom of expression and religion. Last year, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Maria Hurtado criticized the ban and warned that discriminatory practices against a group can have harmful consequences. The U.S. is imposing visa restrictions on former Israeli Defense Forces Sergeant Elor Azaria. This is for his involvement in human rights violations in the occupied West Bank in Palestine. The U.S. says it is also taking steps to impose visa restrictions on an additional group of individuals who have used violence against persons or property. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said promoting accountability and justice for any crime, violation, and abuses committed against Palestinians is essential for enduring peace in the region. The announcement came after the U.S. sanctioned 3 individuals and 5 entities last week for violence against civilians in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Azaria shot a Palestinian in the head after an alleged attack in the West Bank city of Hebron in 2016. The soldier was caught on camera by an activist with Israeli human rights group B'Tselem. He was found guilty of the killing and sentenced to 18 months in military prison. But in September 2017, his sentence was reduced by Israeli Army Chief of Staff Gadi Eisenkot to 14 months. Senator Bernie Sanders unveiled a damning report revealing hazardous working conditions at Amazon warehouses, particularly during peak sales events like Prime Day. The investigation highlights that more than 10% of Amazon's U.S. warehouse staff suffered injuries requiring federal disclosure during Prime Day 2019. Internal records show that more than 45% faced injuries. A 2021 investigation by the Washington Post found that injury rates at Amazon warehouses were significantly higher than those at other companies and peaked on Prime Day and holidays. Criticizing Amazon's treatment of workers as disposable, Sanders is demanding accountability and substantial improvements in workplace safety. The report questions the reliability of Amazon's injury data, citing a history of underreporting and misclassification. Critics argue that stringent productivity quotas worsen risks, prompting calls for legislative action to regulate such practices federally. Amazon made $12.7 billion in sales on 375 million products on Prime Day in 2023. UN chief convenes climate summit without U.S., China, and other emitters. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Islam, peace and justice for humanity. Keeping this year's theme in mind, we invite you all to join us at Muna Convention 2024, the 9th, the 10th, and 11th of August at the Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. We will be having top speakers from throughout the country join us at this year's convention. We also will have 25,000 attendees, inshallah. Attractions include separate youth conferences, parallel sessions, young sister sessions, health clinics, halal food corners, children's fun and learn programs, cultural events, bazaar and expo. Join us today and register at munaconvention.com.
Welcome back. A Moroccan AI-generated influencer, Kenza Leili, has clinched the title of Miss AI, marking the first such pageant in history. Created entirely by AI, Leili, a hijab-wearing advocate, triumphed over global competition. The pageant, hosted by FanView, aimed to showcase AI's creative potential in the influencer sphere. Leili was crafted by Miriam Bissa's Phoenix AI agency. It boasts a substantial online following and secured a $5,000 prize for her creator. The event drew more than 1,500 AI programmers and underscored debates on AI's impact on beauty standards. Critics caution that AI tools may perpetuate biases, yet Leili sees AI as a tool for innovation and inclusivity. At least 40 people have been killed and 347 others injured due to floods in Afghanistan. All casualties have been reported in eastern Nangarhar province. Interim Minister of Public Health Sharaf Zaman says the toll may rise. The region saw severe storms, hail, and heavy rainfall in recent days. Outrage is growing after reports that the Israeli military allowed one of its dogs to maul and kill 24-year-old Mohammed Bahar, an autistic Palestinian man. He also had Down syndrome. Bahar's family says that on July 3rd, they were forced to evacuate their home in the Shujaiya neighborhood east of Gaza City amid ongoing bombardment. His 70-year-old mother, Nabila Bahar, told the BBC she witnessed the dog attack her son and that he was unable to fend it off. The military dog bit his chest, hand, and then arm. She was stopped by Israeli soldiers from reaching her son, who was unable to speak. The family sought help from the Red Cross, but the Red Cross reported non-cooperation from the Israeli military. As soon as Israelis allowed the family to return, they discovered Muhammad's decomposing body. A new line of sneakers depicting Donald Trump with a bloodied face, commemorating the assassination attempt on him last week, is being sold for $299. Offered as Fight, Fight, Fight high tops by Trump-owned CIC Ventures LLC, the shoes feature Trump's image with a raised fist, symbolizing determination and bravery. Only 5,000 pairs are available, with 10 autographed randomly. The shoes are expected to ship in September or October. This follows CIC Ventures' earlier release of Never Surrender high tops for $399. Despite claims of non-political affiliation, the sales highlight efforts by Trump allies to capitalize on his image post-attack. Earlier this year, Trump made an unusual stop at SneakerCon to introduce the shiny gold high tops. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Your support is needed more than ever to continue our mission of providing informative, educational, and inspiring content to Muslims in North America and around the world. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.